made a big difference in my life. It really helped me to understand what perfect faith is. It's not just that you believe in God. It's that you believe that God is so benevolent that he'll never do anything that is not for your highest good, ever. So if you're going through some challenge and it feels tragic and a travesty and horrible and all this, you got to zoom out far enough and see that there's spiritual refinement here in what you're going through.
2, 1, 0.
Hi and welcome to the show. This is your host Orion, and today I have with me the magnificent, the wonderful, the talented, the spiritual, the serious, yet sometimes goofy, Mr. Stephan Spencer. Stephan Spencer is an SEO expert. He wrote the book The Art of SEO and more books around internet marketing, and he's world famous in his niche. He is also now really connecting to his spirituality. There is a project coming out. You'll see it later. I'm not going to talk about it, but there is a secret that is going to be revealed to you pretty soon, coming from Mr. Spencer. And overall, incredible man, and my man, I'm his wife. And today I'm going to interview him for his incredible achievement of having 500 episodes on your show.
Yes, that's 10 years.
Wow, wee wah.
Yep. Haven't missed a week. It's been a weekly show since 2015.
Yes, 500th episode. How do you feel about it?
I feel really good about it. It feels like a big milestone because a lot of people pod fade, and actually I started podcasting in 2007 or 2008, and I pod faded. I did maybe 20 episodes on another show, and I shut it down.
Oh, wow.
And then I went 7 years or so without podcasting until 2015. I decided to do 2 shows.
Nice. And how do you celebrate your achievements?
Well, I like to really bring the emotion and the enthusiasm in so that I can show my gratitude to the creator for the accomplishment. So, I'll jump up and down, or I'll do something to get to engage my physiology, but I also enjoy like going out to dinner with you, going on an outing or something, having a trip if it's a really major accomplishment. And just spending time with you. That's a way I enjoy.
Thank you.
My accomplishment.
So, how are we going to celebrate this achievement?
Well, we're celebrating right now by doing the episode.
I mean, it's great, but it's not a celebration. Like, a celebration is something you do like that is fun, where you don't have to stand in front of an audience and talk and be formal. Like, what are we going to do for fun to celebrate that?
Oh boy, you're putting me on the spot.
I
have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay, tell me later.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. How about we go on a weekend adventure somewhere?
Okay. That sounds fun.
Yeah, let's do that.
So we're in a different part of the world now.
Yes.
Compared to last year. So we're in Tel Aviv, and there's a lot of really beautiful scenery in just an hour or 2 hours drive. So I'm sure we can find something.
Yeah, now it's winter and the north is blooming and it's just really pretty. So I really want to go see everything.
Yeah, bird migration's coming. That's in the next month or 2.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. Why do you think it's important to celebrate your achievements?
Because it's an acknowledgement to the creator that you appreciate what you are getting. Mm-hmm. And that brings more blessings, more unlocked levels in your video game. And if you conversely don't do it, then it's kind of disrespectful, I think.
Is there another reason?
Well, it's good for your physiology. It's good for your emotions. Good for your mindset. Yeah.
It's really good for your brain, because if the brain does not get a satisfaction from the achievement, then why would he want to help you do it again? You send a signal to the brain that, hey, you did something, and it's also good for your confidence to acknowledge your achievements. So many people go through life and they achieve, but they don't feel anything. And then they don't understand why they have everything they ever dreamt of, but they're depressed. It's because if you don't acknowledge yourself, the achievements, you don't achieve just to achieve. You also achieve to kind of like heal that little child inside that maybe doesn't feel good enough or doesn't even know he or she can achieve something. So you always want to love yourself and pat yourself on the back and give yourself those feedbacks. How do you love yourself?
Well, I know you've taught things like mirror work, which you learned from Louise Hay, but I don't do any of that. I just know that there's a version of me, that my higher self, that is pure love and does not judge others, does not judge me, and is just in bliss and joy at all times. So I do my best to connect with that version of me.
So would you call it your higher self?
Yeah.
And how do you connect with that version?
Well, once I actually saw what he looked like.
You saw?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It's an energy being. It's like
How did you saw? When did you saw? What happened?
I asked God to show me.
When?
I don't know, a year ago.
And?
It's not. I can't describe it. It doesn't just look like a burst of light or something. It's just it was. There's no description for it. I know people have like ayahuasca journeys and that sort of thing, and then they see things that they can't describe. It was like that, but without the ayahuasca.
So lucky you don't have to take the ayahuasca or puke or anything to see all that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I hate to puke, so that's really good. I have never done ayahuasca. I've never done any kind of drug. I have not done marijuana, nothing.
And for somebody who's listening, how can they get to see their higher self?
I think it starts with the desire. If you have desire, then like the seas will part, sky will open for you. If you don't have the burning desire, then it seems unattainable. So start with building desire. If you don't have the desire and you want to have the desire, then pray for it. Ask for more desire for the thing that you're trying to access. If it's a view of your higher self, great. If it's not that, but it's something else, like maybe it's a view of, I don't know, all of creation or the video game that we're playing. Like, what's the true nature of reality? Show me a view of that. And then maybe you'll see like a blank room, like a holodeck when they turn off all the simulation and it's just empty blank room. You know?
How do you see the nature of reality?
So when I had the awakening experience, January 22nd, 2021, I did not know that I was going to get to see this matrix, this illusion, as it really is. I just thought it sounded like a really good thing to pray for, because when I was interviewing Sheila Gillette and doing my prep for that interview, and her near-death experience, watching an interview of her talking about how she prayed to God for a job, that, you know, she'll do anything, just let me stay on the planet, let me raise my kids. And she had a pulmonary embolism and all that. So the thing that stuck with me was she asked God for a job. And a few months later, when I randomly, on the night of January 22nd, started praying for that, that's how I was answered. My prayer was answered by being shown this illusion, and it's without description, and I couldn't even retain it because it was so much information. It was like, I've said this before, but it's like having terabytes of data jammed into an 8 gigabyte thumb drive. It doesn't fit. I couldn't hold the information. It changed me. The whole thing has completely changed my life, seeing the nature of reality as it really is. But I couldn't retain it. All I could retain is the feeling of awe and gratitude and joy and bliss and relief that, it's not just the universe is friendly. It's that, everything is for our highest good. Ultimately, it's, a benevolent force of love, infinite intelligence and love, and it's personal to us as well. Like we can talk to our Creator as a best friend, and not have this thing of being in such fear and awe that we forget to just be friends. Like he's accessible. He, she, however you want. I don't know if there isn't a pronoun that you could use. There isn't a way to put the Creator in a box that we can understand. But like whatever terminology you want to use, higher power or whatever. But that's people get caught up in the words. But the idea is simple: that you want to develop and nurture a personal, individual relationship with your higher power. And that door was really unlocked for me when I was shown by the Creator this matrix.
When I'm thinking about asking God for a job, it sounds daunting because I like to keep my promises, and I'm thinking to myself, if I'm going to ask God for a job, what if that job is too big for me to handle, or I'll regret asking?
Yeah, well, it takes a lot of faith. I've it's faith. It's faith and trust that you're not given more than you can handle. And you're not. Like everything is for your highest good, always. There's no exception to that. And you're never given anything more than you can handle. And because this is a video game or a movie or whatever analogy you want to use, this isn't real. This is an illusion. Maya or samsara or whatever you want to call it, matrix. Yeah, it's just not. It's not
potato chips.
Yeah, don't take it seriously. It's just not such like it's not the only thing that we ever will have. This is a very temporary video game that we're playing. It's just a blink of an eye and then it's done, even though it might be 80, 100 years. It's like you have your VR goggles on and you just put them down to play the game, and now you're like full immersion. You forget everything about the real reality on the other side, and you're just sucked into this illusion of physical reality. And then 80, 100 years, whatever go by, you put your visors back up and like, wow, that was amazing. How long was I gone for? Like, what do you mean? You just put your goggles down. You just put them down. Like, what are you talking about? See, time is an illusion, just like space and motion. So and loss, it's all illusion. The only thing that's real here is love. So why take it all so seriously? Like, oh, you lost, X, Y, or Z. Yeah, we've all had tough situations. I had a really tough childhood, but I can be at peace about it because I know it ultimately was for my highest and best good. And if I can see the alternatives that I could have, the other paths I could have gone down without having those challenges, I would not have chosen them, because I'd see the end of the line of like what the life would lead to by not having the challenge.
So you mentioned the real reality. What is the real reality?
That we are beings of light, and that This is, just a temporary illusion that we are experiencing to earn the light that we already are, so that we can feel like we've earned this opportunity to be in God's presence. But God is with us. It's unbelievable how much God is with us and in us and throughout us and everything. There's nothing that exists here that's not consciousness. Nothing. Like this table that we're sitting at, and the chairs we're sitting on, the laptop here, the microphone, it's all consciousness. There's nothing that's not of God. Nothing independent of God. Nothing exists that is independent of God or separate from God. So if you just start to lean into this, and then you start seeing miraculous things happen, and then you partner with God, and you just worry about being given too big of a task, because you're not given more than you can handle. But on a pretty much daily basis, I'm asking God, please send me. Please send me. Whatever miracle you want to deploy and have me deliver as your pizza delivery guy, I'm in. Whatever it is.
Can you be my pizza delivery guy too?
Yes.
What was the answer? What is your job?
An ambassador of the light, an ambassador of spirituality.
What does an ambassador of spirituality do? Do you have to wear uniforms?
No. I suppose I could if I wanted to.
A little tag here.
Yeah. Like a docent, like a museum like receptionist or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's just what my understanding of it is that I help people reconnect to their inner light and to God. And I get guided all the time. In the last couple days, for example, there were at least 4 different people that I haven't spoken to in months. I know a lot of people. I'm in a lot of networks and everything, and I'm
you remember everybody. This is incredible. You remember everybody you talk to. You tell me.
I didn't used to. I used to believe I had a terrible memory and was getting worse and worse. We can talk about that later.
I still believe that on myself.
But see, then you create that reality. And I was experiencing that reality, which I didn't like, and then I realized something that made a huge difference, and that is that I am just channeling whatever information I need access to at that moment. I'm a dumb terminal connected to the supercomputer. I am not like a separate computer running on its own. I'm connected to the infinite intelligence, and if I need a concept, I need a word, I need a name, I just ask God and it pops.
I wouldn't call yourself a dumb terminal.
Okay, but that's the term. That's the like, I'm a geek. And back in the day when there were supercomputers and then there were dumb terminals, that's what they called them. They didn't actually have a computer inside them at all. So if it wasn't connected to the supercomputer, it was just a keyboard with no utility.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when I connect to, like, I actually saw this, and it really struck a chord with me. Tyler, the Hollywood medium, he has a couple of shows on Netflix and so forth. I used to watch that every so often. And there was an episode where I saw that he was trying to think of the word, and it didn't come to him. And I couldn't think of the word, and then I asked God, can you pop it in my head? And I saw he was asking God, like I could tell he was asking God to pop it into his head. And then, boom, there it was, and he said the word.
Oh, wow.
It was the word elope. So it was just like some little tiny, like 3-second thing in one episode of a big series. And that really, that was one of the most memorable moments in the whole show for me, because it's like, that's what I want to be like, is just, I'm accessing the infinite intelligence. I don't have to worry about, whether I'm eating enough, I don't know, some sort of brain food or whatever to keep my memory good or whatever. No, I'm just accessing the supercomputer of the infinite intelligence. I don't need to do anything other than just ask God. Just pray to God, be connected to God, and anyways, what I was doing was just scanning through my WhatsApp for something. I forget what it was, but it wasn't that important. But when I did scroll through there, I saw some names from many months ago, like a year and a half ago, that I had not kept in touch with. And I got the nudge. And I'm like, okay, I'll send them a text.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how's it going? And it's like, whoa, Stephan, it's so good to hear from you. I just thought about you 3 days ago. Aslan said that. Another one, Alejandro. It's like, and Neil and Metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I reached out to him, and he's like, you have the uncanny knack for reaching out to me at the moments I most need to talk with you.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll show you the text afterwards. But, that's the sort of stuff that happens when you put yourself out there and say, God, please send me. And this is based on, this was in a book that was the first book that this entrepreneur group that I'm in read, called You Were Born for This. And even though I don't subscribe to certain religious principles, which I won't talk about here, I got a lot of value from that book. And specifically this thing of please God send me, asking God to deploy me for a mission, comes from Isaiah 6:8, where Isaiah, he's astral traveling, he's at the feet of God, he's interrupting a board meeting, essentially, where archangels are getting their assignments, and God's giving them angelic missions to accomplish. And there's little Isaiah interrupting the meeting, saying, raising his hand, saying, please send me. I want to do some too, And why can't we be that? Why can't we be like, a little version of Isaiah, raising our hand, interrupting the board meeting in a nice, respectful way?
Do we have to be?
No. And this is in that book. Like, you can live your whole life in the land of good works. But if you choose to cross over to the other side of living in the land of miracles, and it's not just miracles that you're receiving, but it's miracles that you are partially responsible for, because you're asking God to send you to deliver them. Then things pop into your mind, exact thing that you're supposed to say at the right time. There's a story in that book about this guy who went to a seminar workshop taught by the author, Bruce Wilkinson. And the next day he's at his work site, a construction site. And this guy that talks all the time was complaining again about his marriage. And instead of running away, trying to make an excuse for why he can't stay to hear his complaining,
misery,
he realizes, maybe I'm supposed to get an assignment here. So he listens to the guy, and then he just blurts out in the middle of the conversation, "Go get a pen and paper, and I got a message for you that's going to help you." And he didn't know what it was yet, but he knew he needed to say that, and he needed a couple minutes to buy him time to receive whatever he was going to receive. And so the guy went and got paper and pen, comes back, and then it just pops into his head: "You got to go home and make your bed. Go home and make your bed." And the guy's jaw drops. It's like, "How did you know? How did you know?" My wife, she complains all the time about me leaving the bed unmade. She's like, "This is a metaphor for our entire marriage, and I'm sick of it. I'm going home right now. Before she gets home from work, I'm making that bed." And it probably saved his marriage.
Oh, wow.
But of course, he didn't need a pen and paper to write that down. He could remember that. Make your bed. Yeah. So that's what you could be to people in need, either individually or en masse. You could do a TED talk, or a TEDx talk. You could do, a workshop. You can do YouTube videos. You can do podcasts. You can do so many things to reveal light, to spread the light. and make a difference in the world. And your little pebble dropping into the pond there that ripples out changes the entire multiverse.
That's beautiful. So let's say somebody wants to do that. How do you get more faith? How do you get over imposter syndrome?
Yeah. So more faith. One book that really made a difference for me is one that that actually your sister gifted to me. It's called The Garden of Emunah, which is by Rabbi Shalom Arush.
Emunah is faith. It means the garden of faith.
Yeah. So Emunah means faith in Hebrew. And it made a big difference in my life. It really helped me to understand what perfect faith is. It's not just that you believe in God. It's that you believe that that God is so benevolent that he'll never do anything that is not for your highest good, ever. So if you're going through some challenge and it feels tragic and a travesty and horrible and all this, you got to zoom out far enough and see that there's spiritual refinement here in what you're going through. So sometimes it takes decades. I went many years not forgiving my aunt for things that she said and did in my childhood. I cut her out of my life. And then I was reading this book called The Tools, Phil Stutz, the documentary that we loved, Stutz on Netflix.
Highly recommended.
Yeah. So one of the tools was to imagine the person in front of you that you're in conflict with. And I really didn't think about her much, but she popped in my mind. This was years ago. I don't know, 5-10 years ago. She pops into my mind. I'm like, okay, I'll use her as the example. I'll try this out. And I'm imagining her in front of me. I'm imagining love and light flowing out through me to her. And I'm imagining what it's like for her to feel that coming in, for receiving that. And I just did that for several minutes. And then the exercise, Phil explains, you've got to fill yourself back up. You don't want to be depleted through this exercise. So after you've finished, then ask God, the universe, or however you want to frame the infinite, ask for light and love to fill you back up to completion. So now, after that little exercise I did, I don't even know how long it was, 5-10 minutes, but that little exercise changed me. And within minutes, I called her on the phone. It's like, I don't know, 15 years.
Wow.
Hadn't spoken to her, hadn't let her meet my kids. Yeah. Frankly, that was cruel. It doesn't matter what somebody does to you. If you do some of the same stuff back to the person, like that's not okay. And so but anyways, I've forgiven myself for being cruel and cutting her out of my life. She's forgiven me, and I've forgiven her for what she, the stuff she did in my childhood. And she's in my life, and I've made a difference in her life, and I continue to make a difference in her life. Her life is better because I'm in it.
That's amazing. I want to go back to the exercise. So you just sit and you imagine love and light pouring from your heart to the other person's heart.
Yeah, from their
hearts. And just
hearts.
loving them and sending light. That's all.
Yeah, but you have to imagine yourself being in their position. Imagine yourself being them, receiving it and feeling what that's like.
So first you're the sender and then you're the receiver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is a pretty straightforward tool, really. There's it's explained in further detail in the book, The Tools. There are 5 tools. That's one of them. Another one that was really profound that made a big difference for me is imagine whatever you're facing, the fear of, I don't know, the unknown, or of, some procedure or something that's about to happen. imagine that as just a cloud of black dust.
Mm.
That fear is just dust. It doesn't have any solidity to it. And so you're imagining that in front of you, this cloud of soot or whatever, and you are going to run straight towards it.
Mm.
Not just run towards it, you're going to actually run through it. And this tool, once you're on the other side through that soot, you are going to celebrate because you've done what seemed impossible, running straight to the fear and right through it, and you got out the other side, and now you are safe and you are free. And that fear is just illusion. And the way he came up with this exercise, this tool, was because his best friend in high school was an all-state football legend, like a star, and he was invincible. This guy, this football player. So what he did to become invincible, he shared with Phil.
Mm.
Phil asked him one day, what's your secret? How do you do this? So, well, the first thing I do when I get on the field is I look for the biggest football player on the opposing team. And once I've spotted him, I'm going to run straight towards him in the first play. And I'm going to let him pummel me, like tackle me, like I will be like pulp. And I'm okay with that. Because the next play and the next play and the rest of the entire game, I am invincible. If I can take on that guy and survive that first play, no one can touch me the rest of the game.
Right. That's really powerful. It's a good exercise. There are a lot of exercises like that are similar. Like when I work with my clients, I had a client where we worked on weight loss with her, and then the weight loss was a mountain. We just in the process we destroyed that mountain because our mind really understands symbols, key, star, like mountain. It really understands metaphors and symbols. So when you work on your subconscious mind and you let your subconscious mind know this weight is the mountain, and we're crushing it right now.
Yeah.
That's
great.
It integrates from the inside.
Mm-hmm. Symbology is really important. And it's like, imagine if you take the principle or the concept of an emoji and you apply it to spirituality and to psychic abilities. Okay, so let's say that you want to maintain a connection with your higher power, but you're in the middle of a podcast interview, or you are in the middle of a conversation with somebody, or you're in the middle of a gym workout, or whatever, right? So you're engaged primarily in one activity, but you don't ever want to lose connection with your higher power. Like you want to walk in both worlds simultaneously, which is what a Kabbalist wants to do, or endeavors to do. Somebody who follows Kabbalah, the Jewish mysticism, is they are in both worlds simultaneously, this world and the upper world, simultaneously, step by step, one foot in one side of the veil and the other in the other. So a little emoji kind of symbology technique to do this is to just imagine a hand wave emoji, and you're sending it to God while you're in the middle of a conversation, or you're in the middle of lifting some weights or something. Because you're just saying hi, and God's saying hi back. So you can imagine that you visualize in your imagination this hand wave emoji, and then you imagine that you're receiving it back. Well, you don't even have to imagine it; it will pop in. Just like Tyler popped in or had it pop in the word that he was looking for, eloped. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I just, you could do this if you're trying to find out whether you're supposed to do one thing or the other. Do I take this job offer? Do I decline it? Do I take on this new client? Do I move cities? What, you can ask questions like that. And if you're not sure of yourself in terms of like receiving whole sentences and things that, some people can channel, like entire books. They write the whole book. They're receiving it and they're speaking it out, or they're typing it out as they're receiving it. That's an amazing ability, but that's not that common. So if you, as a more common way to receive, I think an easier way to receive is just, am I going to get, let's say, a green check mark or a red X in my imagination? And that red X might save you a whole lot of pain. It's like, I was about to hire that person, and I got to a place of I'm in meditation. I don't want to be emotionally involved. I'm stepping back. I just want to be one with God. And, what Joe Dispenza calls being nobody, no thing, no time, no place, no body. Okay, so now I'm not like entrenched, embedded, entangled with this decision. I'm just simply, being. Now I ask the question, and I ask for an answer with either I don't even have to ask if it's going to be a red X or a green check, because God knows already before I even finish the question what I'm asking, and then boom, comes in. Green check, red X, whatever.
What are some surprising green checks you got lately?
Well, I don't remember one off the top of my head that was, I asked it to be a green check or a red X sort of answer, but there is one that pops in my mind as like just a short sentence that I got that I journal every day. I call it my God journal, and I spend, I don't know, half hour every day, pretty much every day, writing in that journal so that I am, appreciating God, appreciating not just the good, the quote unquote good blessings, but also the challenging blessings, the ones that are not revealed yet to me as blessings, but I know in my heart that God only sends me blessings. So I write all those down as gratitudes as well. And then I write down messages that I receive. So I ask God, what do I need to know or do today? And then I'm writing, pages of stuff. And one of the things that popped in that I wrote down and I shared with you in 1,700 pages. This is the first time I ever got it, which is make mashed potatoes, which is a weird thing.
So one pet peeve of mine with this incredible man, he never cooks. I would love him to make me a beautiful, you know what? It should be like that guy where you, here, a pen and paper, cook for your wife. Cook for your wife. Surprise her, cook for her. Yeah, that should be one of those. But anyways, he never cooks, unfortunately, which makes me really sad, miserable.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
but something miraculous happened.
Yes.
I was making dinner, busy with lots of things, making this dish and this, that, and that dish, and taking care of our son. And I just boiled the potatoes, and they were boiling and they were soft. And I was like, and he just walked behind me and I was like, hey, Stephan, can you make the mashed potatoes, please? And that's his signature dish. Like, if he makes something, it's mashed potatoes.
It's hard to screw it up, so I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But I never got this as a prior as a download or like a message, but I got it that day, and 5 hours later, 6 hours later, there's Orion asking me, "Can you finish these potatoes and mash them?" And I was thinking that meant when I wrote it down that I would just proactively from scratch peel the potatoes and boil them and then mash them and add the butter and salt and all that.
You got a shortcut.
Yeah. So I didn't get around to doing that yet. It'd been 6 hours or whatever, and then the potatoes were already boiled and peeled, and she just asked me to mash them.
Another miracle that happened is that he made mashed potatoes yesterday again.
Yeah, because we had
and I heard a choir of angels singing, "Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah." The whole house was lit. I felt like I saw beyond the veil. It was the most incredible experience. I can't even say it in words.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, continue.
But yeah, it's like it's a really cool confirmation when you get things like that you just can't You can't make this stuff up. I mean, I guess theoretically you could, but it's just like
Do you think some people make this stuff up? Like some of those leaders? Because you're very genuine. Like everything that you said, spot on. Yes, you sit 30 minutes a day. You spend so much time. Like I've seen your evolution and you're very, like what you say is exactly like spot on. But I think there are some people who maybe fake it or exaggerate.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. There are people who hang their shingle out, calling themselves psychic, and they are not connected to the light, and they are not receiving stuff that is for the person's highest and best good, but they are portraying it to be so. That is, dark arts. If they're receiving information, it's not from the light, and if they're completely making it up, doing cold reading or whatever, that too is dark. So, not everyone is operating at full integrity.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but that's the nature of this game that we're playing. Is if you don't have rainy days or snowy days, you're not going to appreciate the sunshine. If you don't have people that scam you or cheat you or hurt you, then you don't appreciate all the nice people saying good morning and you're welcome to you. It's like you take it all for granted. You got to have the contrast to appreciate what you're getting. Otherwise, it just looks like everything else. It's like, oh, that's a table. Why would I appreciate a table? It's like I see tables everywhere.
Incredible. What's next for you? Next year, next 5 years? Are there any plans? Anything you want to achieve on a personal level, on a professional level?
Yeah, so I have some plans I'm not going to share here publicly right now, but you know them, like certain projects that mean a lot to me, and relying on God a lot to help me to turn this into something really profound and big and world changing, and not just like an SEO project or something. And I've learned something really profound and important from you that you taught me years ago.
I taught you a lot of things.
You sure did, and this one has saved my bacon many times. And that is that a blessing is...
what's hidden from the eye has more blessing.
Yeah, there you go. What's hidden from the eye retains more blessing.
Yeah.
And
I believe in that. Not everybody do, but I do.
Well, it's Jewish wisdom, so there are a lot of people who believe it.
Yeah.
And I used to, and I still sometimes overshare. That's
I think we all do sometimes.
Well, that's something that I'm especially weak at. Stuff just comes out of my mouth, and once the horse has left the barn, it's just I don't know how to filter very well, and I've really had to work on that. And I understand from a spiritual standpoint why it's so important that I do censor myself. This isn't about like not talking bad about somebody. That's evil speech. That's a whole separate thing. And, mind your words about what you say about others, even if it's truthful, because you're sending this spiky, dark energy to people that you're talking about. Even if you're talking privately to, just one person, you just got to be really mindful about what you say. And if you blurt out something that you're working on, you're really excited about, it's a big project and it's really kind of precarious at the moment because like the deal hasn't been signed yet, or the money hasn't been deposited into your account yet, or whatever. And then the thing just blows up because you were blabbering your mouth out to a bunch of people. Well, guess what happens? You get this thing that some refer to as evil eye. We're like, wow, aren't you special? That's pretty amazing. And that's dark energy too that they're spiking out towards you.
But that dark energy is not always intentional.
No, of course.
It can be also just people being really impressed with you. And that can bring on their insecurities, and unknowingly this type of energy can transfer.
Yeah, so when they put you up on a pedestal And it's good for your ego, isn't it? Like, whoa, I feel so important. But actually, you're putting a big target on your back.
So if you're a big leader in the world, you put a big target on your back. How does that work? How can you not put a target on your back?
You be a servant leader who's humble.
But even when you're humble, if you're on TV and they're not, you're already...
Yeah, you gotta work really hard on spiritual, like, protective shields and things like that. As you increase your reach and your brand and all that, that's a whole other level. But just when I'm talking about, like, being a regular person, and you've got your regular sphere of influence, you got to be really mindful about the words you say, and be selective about the words that you use and how many words that you use. Like, you don't have to blab the whole thing. Hey, I'm working on this incredible project and it's really precarious right now because nobody signed any deals with me or whatever. But this could, like, change my whole life. Like, just shut it. Just don't say it.
But let's say it's a special launch, or let's say it's a course, or it's a book, whatever it is, and you need to pre-promote it before the thing is already in here. How do you do that? How does that work with what's hidden from the high retains more blessings?
You have to lock in step with God. So if I'm meant to share with one particular individual some piece of the project, then I'm guided to do that. So the one project that we're working on together, we were guided to tell my foster mother about.
Right.
And we got some valuable feedback that really
but
was
what
helpful.
if you need to open an Instagram account and get hundreds of thousands of followers so these things can lift off the air? And you have to do it pre-launch. How do you do that? How does that work? Because in today's market, people have pre-launches. It's like when a movie comes out and there is the trailer and, the most, watched for movies in the next year. And
well, it's far enough along, I think, at that point that it's not going to necessarily derail.
Right. Got it.
Like, we invested in a small amount in the David movie, which is an animated movie. I brought it to your attention that this really cute kids movie based on the life of King David was being animated.
Right. It's great.
And your intuition told you, yeah, let's do it. Let's invest a little bit of money into it. And they had these little vignettes, these little trailers and snippets and things. And it was enough that it's like, wow, this is really cute. This is really, this is going to be great when it's a full length movie.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Like, we're bringing on investors. We're not going to venture capital. We're not going to private equity or whatever. We're going to the community. We're going to individuals who want to put some money to back us.
Once alternative to Disney movies that are in many ways very dark. Like, every happy Disney movie must have this really scary villain and dark moments and some dark messaging, and I don't like that.
I don't either. And you know what else about those? It's and the Marvel movies as well. You know what else I really don't like about?
I do like.
I don't like them.
I still like superhero movies.
Remember Loki with all the multiverse? No, that was the timeline stuff. The multiverse one was Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I don't know. They're getting darker. They're
getting very dark.
I don't understand why.
In the multiverse one?
Even Harry Potter started so, like, if you look at the
innocent,
first
yeah,
so beautiful and innocent and Hogwarts, and then it's like it's darker and it's darker and it's darker. Where you just like, oh, come on, can we just light up just a little bit?
Yeah, that's and then that's a way of infiltrating our minds. So you got to be very careful. The term Shmirat Einayim.
Shmirat Einayim.
Oh, thank you. So that means protect your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Protect your eyes.
You got to protect your eyes. You got to protect your ears. You got to protect your speech. You got to live very intentionally, because everything that goes
Yeah, that ripple effect is huge, both for the good and for the bad. So when you let into your consciousness dark imagery from some, action flick with gratuitous violence, or, lewd sexual stuff from a TV show or whatever, you are letting your guard down, and you're lowering your vibration, and you're changing the frequency that you're receiving at. You're like a TV or a radio that just changed channels to a really dark station.
I like lowering my frequency every once in a while. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, come on. Like, you're too serious. You're too serious. Everything needs to be like so high vibe and.
Okay, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example, because I succumb sometimes to the dark stuff. I watched this 10-minute clip of Ender's Game, which is a pretty dark movie, dystopian movie, and it was the last scene where the kid is like this. He's playing what seems like a video game, blowing up the home world of the alien species that is the enemy of humanity. And he's like, yes, I won, I did it. And then the adults who are in the room behind him, they're so serious. Like the whole home planet of this species is just like exploding. And they're watching, and they're like clapping, and they're like they couldn't believe that it's over. It's finally over. We have obliterated our enemy, because it was real.
Wow.
Because they fooled these kids into being hyper competitive and doing whatever they could, like going against all odds. They were genetically engineered or something to be super good at this. And they just obliterated an entire species from the galaxy. And that kid felt so betrayed and so used and so guilt-ridden for what he did. And it was just, I felt so bad watching that clip, and I realized that this was not for my highest good. And after doing some reflection, some journaling, writing in my God journal, either that night or the next morning, it came to my mind. One of the things I received about this was that my vibration had dropped, and I was put on a different timeline.
Oh, wow.
And that timeline was not as fun, because there were some things, an argument that happened and stuff that seemed completely unnecessary. And I'm like, why did that happen? And then there's just things that happened that were just like out of sync with the usual high vibe kind of life that we were leading. It's like, what's going on here? This just doesn't feel right. And I asked what happened, and it's like, you're on a different timeline now. It's like, oh, no, please put me back, please put me back. Like, what can I do to be back on that timeline? And I got some information, I got some guidance, and I prayed, and I worked on my vibration, and I ended up on either that same previous timeline before watching that stupid nonsense that I shouldn't have subjected my consciousness to, or something similar. But when you are a radio station, or when you're a radio and you're tuned into a certain radio station and it's all negative news, you're going to extract all sorts of garbage into your life, all sorts of chaos. Don't do it. It might be quote unquote fun to watch this horrific action flick that is so well done and everything, but if it makes you feel bad, if it doesn't make you just joyous, why are you doing that? Why are you subjecting yourself to that? It's play the bigger game. That's I don't want to be a prude or like a stick in the mud. I don't have any fun. Don't watch any gratuitous garbage on Netflix anymore. I mean, personally, I don't want to. I want to be super, super careful about what I let into my consciousness, because I'm super sensitive to what happens afterwards. It's not worth it's not worth it. The price of admission, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. One thing that I blocked from my consciousness is the news website I used to go on, because we're in Israel, and as you know, tumultuous times, and there are a lot of things happen: rockets, sirens, hostages, lots of fear. Like it's saturated with fear and a lot of trauma. Like this country has been through, I think, the most severe trauma since the dawn of Israel. I don't know. So yeah, a lot of people are here with post trauma. A lot of people serve in the army and they have post trauma, and you feel it in the air. And then you got the TV programs that program you, and it's more stress. And now they're bringing the hostages back. There are 98 left. I don't know how many they took, like 200, but only I think 98 are left now. But they're bringing them back 2 or 3 at a time. And every time they bring them back, there is big news story and people in the streets, and everybody around is trauma story, trauma story, trauma story, and so fixated on the news. If it's not hostages, then you have the rockets. If it's not the rockets, then you have the government. Like there's always something. And when you get so involved in watching the news because you think, oh, it's a war, I need to know. Like I felt like it was bringing me down so much, and you helped me block the website. So I blocked it from my phone, and I blocked it from the computer, and I don't see those photos. I don't wake up in the night several times thinking about what they're going through, the suffering, the horror stories they've been through there in Gaza, and all those things. Because as an empath, I would take on those stories and to the level where I would like faint out of stress. So for me, that was the thing that I needed to block from my vision, so I wouldn't get in so much pain.
Yeah, you can't get embroiled in it, because I mean, really, what are you doing to help anybody?
I don't help them if
Right.
the only help I can give the world is when I'm okay.
Yeah, you got to put on your own oxygen mask first, and when you watch the negative news, you're ripping off that oxygen mask. You're dropping
And
your
all
vibration.
news are negative news. Like maybe there is one happy story in.
Yeah, and they bait you the whole time.
Like
and next, and coming up soon is the dog that reads Braille. And then they keep baiting you, like, and it's just one fire after the shooting with whatever. It's awful, 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 and then the very last
Is
story.
it possible for dog to read Braille?
No, I just made that up, but it's
Okay,
but it's some crazy, feel good story, and they don't show it until the very last story. That was back when many, many, many years ago, when I used to watch the news, like decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
I would notice, like on the 6 o'clock news, the good news sort of story was always the last one, and they baited you right before each commercial.
No, but the news here are like it's just like it's not good.
If it bleeds, it leads. That's
because
news,
from prehistorical
headline.
time, our brains are used to look for the saber-toothed tiger, look for danger. We are wired to look for danger. Yeah. That's why news are so interesting, because it's like danger, 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 danger. And the prehistorical part of our brain, our lizard brain, just wants it. Like, I want to keep you protected. Let's look at the danger so we can be safe. Yeah. But and our brains don't understand that we're sitting here and we're safe and we're on this chair and we're together and everything's okay. But when we see those things on the news, it feels like it's happening to us, because our brain doesn't make the difference between reality and imagination. Yeah. And so this becomes our reality. Our real reality mixes with the news's reality, goes into our subconscious mind, and can drive us nuts.
Yeah.
So I love what you said about protecting your eyes, shmirat einayim. It's very, very important.
Yep. And also it boosts your ability to receive messages.
Yeah, because if your brain is I mean, it takes space in your brain. And I don't and fear and love cannot coexist at the same time. So you're either in fear or in love. I much rather be in love so I can be a better wife, a better mother, a better coach, a better daughter, sister, than be in fear all the time. When I'm in fear, I cannot take care of anyone. And anyways, and I had a conversation today with the taxi driver who was like, there was the news on. And he's like, I'm like, oh, can you please stop with the news? He's like, no, but this is the most important. Today's the day. Two hostages are coming back. I really want to listen to that. And I told him, and I explained to him my point of view, but he was old people always watch the news. It looks like not all of them, but a lot of them here, they're so wired to watch the news, and everything on the news is the word of God. But and I said, oh, there is two that are coming, and I said, and when are the other people coming? When are the other hostages? Oh, on the weekend. So every day is the most important day, and every day you have to watch the news and be programmed with their programming that programs your brain. So when you have this awareness, you can make the choice. Do I want to listen to that? Because every important information will come to me whether I want it or not. So I know that the hostages are back because I had a conversation with the taxi driver. What I need to know, I'll know. It will come to me.
Yeah.
Right.
And what you're not meant to know, or what you're not meant to receive, will not.
Yeah, because I've been reading terrible stories about, violence and whatever. And I found out that it occupies my mind. And why am I even thinking about this person? Like at any given moment, there is a kid that is suffering somewhere in the world. And every given second or millisecond, there is somebody who's dying. Like there is a lot of suffering in the world. And it happens all the time, whether we see it on the news or not. Just because we don't see it on the news doesn't mean that in the apartment next to you, something terrible is happening. But you don't know about it, so you live a happy life. So why don't you choose to live a happy life and just, watch your ears, watch your eyes, watch what you're saying, so you can be more open to being that place of receiving good information and focusing on what you need to focus on.
Yeah. And trust that the information that you're meant to receive will come to you, and the information you're not meant to, it will be hard to receive, and it'll be like you're trying to jump the tracks or trying to derail the train to go down these dystopian rabbit holes. You can still do it. You've got free will. Mm-hmm. But free will is the ability to choose to derail your train. Otherwise, you're going to stay on the track and everything's going to be working out for you.
Yeah, and I want to add another point where there are a lot of bad things happening and there are a lot of good things happening. Just because they're not on the news doesn't mean that a lot of good things are not happening, because you spoke about dichotomy, the sunny day, the rainy day. So this whole world is made out of polarities.
Yeah,
black
duality.
Polarities, duality, black and white, feminine, masculine, all those. So yes, darkness expands. There is a lot of darkness in the world, but there is also balance. And as much as there is darkness, there is also light. So where are you going to look at? What are you going to look at? In what world are you going to live in? The world where darkness is swallowing you, or in the world where there is a lot of light? I'm not saying to be an ostrich and put your head in the sand. Things happen that you got to take care of for everyone, of course. And there is a lot of pain in life, but there is also a lot of love. But the intentionality of living a life that is pure, that has more good than bad, will create that reality.
Yeah. This reminds me of my favorite quote from Albert Einstein. And it goes like this: I think the most important question facing humanity is the universe a friendly place? This is the first and most basic question all people must answer for themselves. For if we decide that the universe is an unfriendly place, then we will use our technology, our scientific discoveries, and our natural resources to achieve safety and power by creating bigger walls to keep out the unfriendliness and bigger weapons to destroy all that which is unfriendly. And I believe that we're getting to a place where technology is powerful enough that we may either completely isolate or destroy ourselves as well in this process. If we decide the universe is neither friendly nor unfriendly, and that God is essentially playing dice with the universe, then we're simply victims to the random toss of the dice, and our lives have no real purpose or meaning. But if we decide that the universe is a friendly place, which is what I've decided, which I've been shown, then we will use our technology, our scientific discoveries, and our natural resources to create tools and models for understanding that universe, because power and safety will come through understanding its workings and its motives. God does not play dice with the universe.
That's beautiful. Who knew that Einstein was so spiritual?
Yep. Yeah. He is a really cool guy.
Before we say goodbye for now, what are your 3 top tips to living a stellar life?
Okay. Just let go and let God. Or, in other words, relax and trust that things are always working out for you, even if it doesn't look like it at the moment. You know, we can't really connect the dots looking forward, but we can looking backwards usually, right? We can see like, oh, how I can see now how that served me, that bankruptcy, or that somebody stealing from me or whatever, that actually ended up being a net positive for me because I grew in the process, right? Everything is for our spiritual refinement. So that's number 1, let go and let God. Number 2 is to make time and space in your life to meditate, to journal, to connect, to nurture that relationship you have with your higher power. You have to make space in your schedule for it. You know, so I commit to a half hour a day just in personal prayer and journaling. But, you know, it's different for everybody. Maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's an hour, or maybe it's, you know, just saying hi to God in the morning when you first wake up. You know, it's a prayer that a lot of Jews say that is basically, thank you, God, for putting my soul back into my body as soon as they come to consciousness in the morning. What a cool way to start your day, right? So just try to carve out some intentional time in your schedule, in other words. And the third suggestion would be to invest in your most important relationship with, you know, your most important human, whether it's your spouse, if you're married, or it's your best friend, or it's your sibling, or your mom or your dad. Invest in the relationship. And an example of that might be for a spouse. You could tell him or her 3 things that you appreciate about them every day, you know, before bed. I learned that one from Harville Hendricks, and we did that pretty much every day without fail for several years. Yeah. And that made a difference. Mm. We don't do it now, but we've got other ways that we connect in a very deep way. So invest in your most important relationship.
I just want to add a side note to that. And it goes back to how our brains are wired to look for the saber-tooth tiger and what's missing and the lack and what we need. It happens in our relationships as well, where we start and we're like, yeah, I love you, everything's amazing. And then the lizard brain kicks in, and we start looking for what's missing and what we need and what we don't get. But if you keep the focus on the glass half full and what you have, that will amplify, because you live again in that area of delight where the universe is friendly and your relationship is friendly and everything is beautiful. And it goes back again to that intention of what do I want to look at? What do I want to find? And you give your brain the command to find the good if you just go into gratitude.
Yeah. So like Tony Robbins teaches this thing about a primary question that runs your life. If that's in the background, like, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? And not even realizing you're asking yourself that in every situation in a new, environment or whatever. What if you replace that with, how can I be of service? Or what's the next miracle that's coming? Or where am I going to be deployed next by God to deliver his miracles? Or whatever the question is, that's more high vibration and an abundance mindset instead of scarcity.
Mm-hmm. Stephan Spencer, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, my love. I'm so grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you too.
And I'm grateful for you, listener. Thank you for being part of my journey and for, going on this ride, you and I, so that we can be better and reveal more light in the world.
So thank you everybody for being with us and listening, and I hope you got some good knowledge and great wisdom from the amazing Stephan Spencer. I hope you enjoyed that show. If you enjoyed that show, please share it with your loved ones. If there is something you think they should hear today that will make their day a little better. So thank you so much for being here. This is Orion. Till next time.